You must reward our labor. That's how the Labour Party was born. Then the other people are saying, just a minute, we are remaining with status quo. The current British political party became the Conservative Party. The similar things were happening. The Republicans, but then in America, in USA, it was more ideological orientation of religion, what and everything else. So I can tell you that the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, as movements at that time, were the ones which were struggling to control political power. So the ideological orientation is in that direction. Now, that is at the broader sense, but I'm bringing you down now to us.
To Uganda. Before you bring us to Uganda, let me just take a very short commercial break. Then when we come back, I will give you time to bring us down to Uganda and understand the election of the speaker in Uganda.
Aberuka.
Ebo papi duaika.
Ijeni jebe, ebete duwa waka bongoro sumero. Konyeri nga beri bura reda kena. Kwana, anu nyoma mone yang aratutu betena isirigi no sumero, ijuni ya etacha. Anu eva na anu e sumero, itacho ne kaulo. Biya.
Papi duaika. Anu nyoma mone itacha ito sumaite MTN momo. Neba, ijatari jarering. Anu aitele kari sirigi nlue sumero. Anu ikaro kere. Kaiche. Kere keda. Ipedro ijai lipune loni lo school fees. Ido. Isomero ilu itolo setenu. Telekarete a school van. Ipupi jo papi doe.
Apupi ngototi doe. Ejoko kwa ngin. Itelekai sirigin lue somero. Anwe karu kere. Kai chie. Kodumi buro lue gelegela. Kanui somero. Ilu itolo setenu. Ipelorida. Kopa unelon. Loi sirigin lue somero. Kichikaka sta. Idopika nyepe kansta. Ikanya unenoti hash. Arai idoso momo app. MTN Momo. Nesi mani e bank loko Uganda. Eleganolo. Korailo e promotion. Nesi tongo ngorit. Erionget local national lotteries. Ka gaming regulatory board.
Ayu beja hii. Atim.
Mana chengona. Nani chela na rojo bale ban.
Merejo nesi bala be mami ka kokede ka kimbobe mi de chume kato. Adao kwa ni piso wongono kere. Konye lolilosi sadeki ebaka ibe ejatare koke emidi. Aso atuni siko na kusunyin.
Ashira. Ijela kena jengi kwa ku.
Obongwere jone asapat mama timi somata no arokoko chut.
Konye tata atimi ipende ngala ngalengo be mami kokede ka kin kwani kokunyine deka.
Asapat karade down na chumi koke kato. Epedoriko kadeka kine emidi. Konye merele tuno kwa yene ditago go muchuti na ara mamedu mutore kato ne emidi.
Akepelo ngale nesi.
Ita yongini. Mameru no noi. Itele paike da rengute kech. Oina kisinye sekia engale uni.
Yala me kadeke. Ati minyaki ka kokule.
Koi waidu ekon oyanga kesa ikisio katoloka emidi ageuno lapio ikanyapi kanyari kanyauni kaeka radio pete atutu bet erana isiraret na inuti serio ngeteloka ngaleu.
The management of Uganda Matters Polytechnic College Soroti congratulates the pupils and students for completing the examination. We are accredited by the National Council for Higher Education. We offer national diploma courses in civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and fashion and garments design. We also offer national, junior, and skills certificate courses in agriculture production, motor vehicle mechanics, motorcycle mechanics, fashion and design, woodwork technology, plumbing, electrical installation, welding, and metal fabrication, catering, hairdressing, building construction, industrial art and design, and driving. Uganda Matters Polytechnic College is located 1 kilometer along the Soroti-Mbale Road next to Regina Cheli Cathedral site. We have a boarding section, running water, standby generators, science laboratory, appropriate and adequate tools and equipment, an e-learning library, free Wi-Fi, sufficient vehicles for driving section, and a wide and conducive learning environment. Admissions for certificate courses are currently ongoing at the college campus, and the reporting date for the first term is 10th of Feb 2026. For more information, call the academic registrar on 0777 599 765 or 0755 215 030. Uganda Matters Polytechnic College Soroti for technology and progress.
No need to stress over fees and requirements or link charge with Stanbic Bank. Enjoy an interest, free cash, advance up to 5 million in 2 minutes via our digital channels, or get a loan top-up at 70% interest in just 8 hours at any branch. Secure an investor plus policy and stand a chance to receive a discount of 50,000 Uganda shillings on a policy premium. Download the Stanbic app, dial star 290 hash, or visit any of our 83 branches countrywide to get started. Call us on our toll-free line 0800 250 250 for more information. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund up to 10 million.
At
Iteker, Soroti Municipal Secondary School, ingisida itije nikitesebe, ipenal tekesi koku, ishisha italaro ne lala noe, ojito limo ule kuse kwam, ereso mero loka deke da body, wadika unake da yuneb, ena abawu, iare itiopete noti yare, ejina reso mero kedipo nesho otomonga renune, arichiten wishisha nakine tekesi, keda samuka ya pepeara, ijasiba saris kanwidwele kwa chite kalamu, ageuna tuko na nuko sinya na asodit, kito ni sinya na ikantape, isirigini lwe somero, gesi ya pakineki chebei, ido itacha na rijo motimo, eje computer lab, lwe ngara, kanwido waitete monor, orucho kinolago, akipinu elaite, programs lwe nyamata lwe moyo, aichor, kaitetenar, DSTV, kanwido wailajar, arwatata negwa unite somero, atukona nwaishisha, standby generator, areko purakim, genere somero koto mabula shonwege gela, el library lo ilele bitaboy, eshishaka lwe minasa kechaswam, kedai boisi na ada imukeridwe, aiwadi kidwe, elo sakonye, ageunu sinya na asodit, nisinya na ikantape, ageuna ne balasa, kito ni na ikanye, tusani yare tunusani tobona diopelo atibong. Epele ikinite somero, aitolo munike sishak, luda itopolo unite jok, tetereja tejo koko ingaren. Urumak Soroti Municipal Secondary School, Soroti City West Division, Oroto Loko Old Mbale Road, 8 de Fahao Petrol Station, Pamba Ward, Kanwaje Nununui Pu, inomaki ngaren onle somero, enoti kanyari kanyauni uni, ikanyango ni yarei, ikanyi diopeti uongo. Soroti Municipal Secondary School, the beacon of hope.
Yes, welcome back from that very short commercial break. Willie, bring us down to the context of Uganda.
Yes. I have defined for you what a political party is.
Yes.
The people with the same ideology form same thinking, and they want to participate in the governance of the country and take charge of the resources, take charge of the institutional framework, take charge of the machinery of the state, take charge of all organs that manage the state and control them and govern. That is what exactly NRM has been doing. It has taken charge of the army, it has taken charge of the police, taken charge of the judiciary, taken charge of everything. And all those organs aggregate themselves to make what you call governance structure under a political system. You are aware that recently we held an election and every political party put its manifesto before the population.
Yes.
And you are aware that it's only when you implement your manifesto that is when you are able to take charge and control the population, aware that at the tail end of your results, you'll bring out what pleases people. Politics is not to sit and give you a cup of tea. It's to take state power. Take state power, control the army, control the police, control all the political organs of the state, and being able to implement your manifesto. That's what they call the balance of power. And therefore, for me, the kind of representation that we have in the political contestations represents our intentions on what we want to do. Now, back down to the speakership.
Yes.
You have told me that, Mao, let me leave out all the other NRMs. First, leave out all the NRMs before you come to our target to see how they should be handled. You cannot tell me that Norbert Mao, who contested on the DP ticket, an intellectual as he is, a man of caliber as he is, and whatever he espouses and holds, even with the memorandum of understanding, I don't think NRM, I belong to NRM, I don't think he has any ideological basis on which he should be standing to become a speaker of parliament, where the dominance of the political forces currently now is NRM. 500 NRMs, ideologically oriented in NRM, then you bring a DP, green on top and put yellow inside. You cannot. We love Mao, I like him. He's a very good articulate debater, intellectually astute. But you're not talking about someone coming to massage and not promote his political ideology in DP. Whether anybody likes Honorable Anita Among, currently who is NRM, he was previously FDC, if Mao wants a seat, and he wants to participate in the political dispensation of NRM,
yes,
and he push the ideology and make sure that this parliament is fully embedded in the Ugandan structures of leadership, he must be cross and come NRM. Nothing less than that.
Officially.
Officially. But you can't be DP, or outside you want to be NRM and support NRM, but internally your ideology is different. Didn't DP put its ideology right on the spot when it was campaigning, and it was defeated thoroughly? How many people DP came through? 9 or how many?
People did not agree with DP.
Nothing. these things, we should not start romancing with issues which are obvious.
Willie, what
Second point,
yes,
which I want you to understand. I'm not sure whether this topic has any information in which the NEC and SEC, whatever organs of NRM, sat and agreed and say, you know what, we're giving Honorable Anita a second term. But there's an unwritten rule which all of us are aware.
Yes.
That every speaker has served 2 terms.
Should serve 2 terms.
That is the unwritten rule. It's not anywhere in our rules of procedure, whatever you call them.
Yes.
But what I'm aware, Honorable Anita Mong came into leadership. They have called her an accidental leader because of the death of Olanya. Of course, there wouldn't have been a vacuum. She was a deputy speaker already. And therefore, concluding the other term of Olanya, like they say, it was death which brought her into power, which is okay. But the minimum I want to tell you is that, in spite of that, what they call accidental speakership, we are saying Anita Mong has done her work. She has traversed the whole country in her position as the second or first national university, second or something, for ladies, what Kadaga was holding.
Yes.
The president would be coming here to Teso. For instance, let me give you the scenario. Comes, raises the flag of NRM, and then the president concludes with his manifesto. She doesn't stay there. She moves down and comes to Soroti, where the next rally is, does the same underground work, and at the end of the day, comes back, and the president finds a ground which is ready, because the president doesn't have a lot of time. You remember how we were campaigning. So to me, as far as NRM is concerned, if I was in SEC, and if there's any influence I can make on people in SEC, my MP, Honorable Chodu, begin to understand that if someone works and brings the government into power, support that person. And if it will be a betrayal that whatever Anita did, honorable, is not recognized, then that is another story for another day. I can understand it from that perspective. But if she has been a loyal party member,
yes,
and assuming the organs of SEC and other organs of the political party endorse her, there should be some element of discipline on all other party members to recognize that a party cannot work without discipline and without those organs. Why other political parties have failed to maintain the discipline, it is the arrogance of individuals who think they are bigger than the party. Democracy is nurtured in political parties. We have our political party structures. Right from the grassroots, you are a member of the village committee, you are a member, you elect our own people here, up to NEC. Then the NEC decides and says, let's elect Honorable Chodu. And he wins an election, and we agree that he's the SEC member. If his voice with other voices in SEC have recommended and vetted, all of us cannot be speakers. There must be one person who our senior leaders must recommend. And once they've done that,
yes,
then all of us must honor that decision for as long as it has taken a democratic approach in process.
Thank you.
Let me conclude just one point.
Yes.
Therefore, if you are a Republican or if you are a Labour Party member and Conservative Party, much as you can support and lead and participate like Mao has been doing, he's a very good minister at that level. But a speakership, the government has programs, the government has very important legislation, government has its own direction in which it wants to put money. And we will put here a DP person, President Museveni wants to build a barracks or to go nuclear down, and you have a DP leader in that. Will he support that program? Is it likely that he will not? He can even cause a vote of no confidence in the state. That's what we're not about to allow.
Thank you.
If NRM is in power and you want a DP to become a speaker, there was a time one speaker, I think, who wanted to put in parliament a motion of displeasure about the president. I heard about it at one point, a motion of displeasure. Yes. If I'm a speaker.
Was it right?
Who was that who wanted to do that? I heard about it. Now, if you want to put a motion of displeasure about the president, and you are an opposition member.
He was actually about to get a motion, that motion you're talking about.
Who?
It was supposed to get a vote of no confidence.
Who was that?
The person who served him, I think, was the Honorable Minister of
okay, but there's that position.
Time. Yes. The speaker at that time was Kadaga still.
You see, if a speaker crosses swords, if a speaker crosses swords with the president, it's a very dangerous phenomenon. You can bring in a motion. For example, let's talk about the age limit. Let's talk about the term limit extension.
Okay, we shall come back.
A speaker who is not pro-NRM,
it will be risky.
That will be disaster.
Thank you, Willie Bisanga. I will come back to you. Let me get to Peter Luchom. Peter, you are a member of opposition, and today I see some of you are excited that for the first time there is a chance that you may hold the position of a speaker as members of opposition through Norbert Mao. But just to remind you, from the inception of this parliament, the first speaker of parliament was James Wapahabulo from 1996 to 1998. And then here comes Francis Ayume, 1998 to Francis Ayume was 1998 to 2001. And then Edward Sekandi comes in 2001 to 2011. Rebecca Kadaga comes in 2011 to 2021. Then Jacob Olanya from 2021 till he passed on in 2022. And here comes Anita Among, 2022. Now, when you follow that, you realize that each of these people, apart from James Wapahaburo and Olanya, all of them had 10 years. James Wapahaburo was only 2 years.
But he went to
Francis Ayume was 1998 to 2001. Yes, but Edward Sekandi, this was before the formation of NRMO. But from the time of NRMO, Edward Sekandi, 10 times. 10 years. Rebecca Kadaga, 10 years. Two terms. Now, it shows you a sequence that Willie Bisanga was calling an unwritten rule. Yes, and it is believed within the fraternity of the NRM, from the corridors, when we put our ears to listen to them, they are saying the time to change Anita Among is not yet. And also, you realize that these decisions, they sometimes begin from the SEC, which is NRM, the Central Executive Committee of the NRM party, and then it goes to sometimes, most of the time, actually always, they will retreat these members to Chankwanzi, and the president will address them. They will caucus, and they are the majority. What are the chances, and what is causing excitement in you, members of opposition?
Moses Musa, thank you so much. I don't think there's an excitement, and I'm not excited. But just to start from the information you're giving me, you started from the members of parliament, the speakers of parliament from 1996. That is under the current regime. But we're talking about national issues here, and we don't want to zero them to the current regime. If you looked at the history of speakership from the time Uganda was constituted as a republic, it starts with a gentleman called Narendra. Narendra was the first speaker of the National Assembly in this country, and if you flow backwards, you will come down to now the current one, who is Anita, a number of speakers. But even in the current regime, like you were stating it there, the first Speaker of Parliament to hold the 2 terms, do it for 10 years, was actually the Edward Sekandi that you talked about. And then Rebecca Kadaga followed. 2 Speakers of Parliament out of the many that we have had, even in this regime in the last 40 years. Apakapulo was a very good speaker. He chaired the CA very successfully. Actually, at that time, he risked, because he had become more popular than the president. the way he handled that house. He became very popular. I was at school, and those days, if they nicknamed you Pakabulo, you'd be a very proud man. Actually, there were many students in school who were nicknamed Pakabulo. If you were intellectual, they would think you up. They would call you Pakabulo. But Pakabulo got actually voted again as a Speaker of Parliament after the CA. Bisanga here will tell you, he will agree with me, that actually he was shortcut. That history is not with many Ugandans. Pakabulo got voted again as the Speaker of Parliament in Uganda. But what President Museveni did was to cancel that election, drew Pakabulo back to he took him to the NRM Secretariat. And a fresh election was conducted. And that was a miscarriage of democracy. That the Parliament of Uganda, that is constituted by members of Parliament who have been voted from their constituencies, representing the people of Uganda, vote a speaker to steer the House, but one person in the name of the president dislodges that arrangement and puts up something new. That one needs to be in our minds even as we discuss this. And so Pakabulo goes to the Secretariat. He did not live long, and then comes in Francis Ayume, who also did not do 2 terms. He did 1. Like we have said, the first 2 people to do 2 terms was Dot Sekandi and Rebecca Kadaga. But like he gave his background, let me start my background from the tenets of democracy and what forms a government in a republic and in many countries of the world. All of us have been talking every other time, including my senior brother, Bisanga, that a government, especially even for Uganda, is constituted by 3 organs. What the Italians call a kial. Apogan, Rai Kiali Uniedu Kunete. Which are these 3 ikial? We talk about the executive. That is headed by a president, and he has a cabinet that he works with of ministers and a number of other officials. Because when we talk about ministers, somebody will ask me, what about the chief whip? Is not a minister, but he's also there. Even, what is this man? What is this man? This man who advises the president on legal issues is also part of that cabinet, the attorney general. So the executive is headed by a president. That is one arm that actually implements. It's an implementing arm of government, the ones that actually go to the ground to do the real governance and implement what has been given even from the other 2 arms. The next arm that I want to discuss about here is the legislature. The legislature is that one we're talking about today, the parliament. And the legislature actually is supposed to be the most powerful arm of government, even if the executive has the executive power to implement. Because the legislature is where every Ugandan has a voice. That's where every citizen is represented, even including the president. He also has a member of parliament who represents him. And so this arm here is supposed to be powerful. It's supposed to be, I'm putting it in quotes, it's supposed to be powerful because every Ugandan is supposed to be making decisions on how they're supposed to be governed. But because of the numbers, we just get representatives who go and sit in that house and speak for us and do things for us. I'm going to talk about their roles in a very short time. The other one is the judiciary. The judiciary is the arm of government that actually interprets laws for us and arbitrates where there are differences to put things right in accordance with the law that has been made for the nation. And actually, the legislature is responsible for the biggest portion of legislature, of making laws. When I talk about this, somebody will ask me, is there another person who makes laws? Yeah, there are other people who make laws, even courts of law. The judiciary can actually make laws. The judgments they pass become law.
Presidents.
Presidents. Sometimes even the president can make law if he doesn't overstep his jurisdiction. But now, looking at the legislature that I said is supposed to be more powerful, very briefly, just outlining, these are their roles. There are 4 cardinal roles of the legislature. One of them being legislature itself, making laws for the country. They debate and pass laws that govern the country. That one everybody knows, and they do it on a day-to-day basis. But in their legislation, there are processes, there are procedures that they go through to make these laws that I'm not going to go into. But those of you who have been following know that Parliament also works through committees, sectoral committees. Actually, most of the work that is done in Parliament is done through the sectoral committees. Those committees do a lot of work. They have their chairpersons, and then they bring whatever they have come up with to the plenary. It's debated and either passed or not passed. That the president finally eventually endorses or refuses to endorse. He usually doesn't endorse what he is not in agreement with. And so legislature is one role that Parliament does, or the legislature as part of one of the three organs of government. The other one is oversight. Oversight means that they actually oversee what the executive does, what government does. They have a role of monitoring what the executive does. When the executive goes wrong, actually the arm that has the powers by the law that has been made for this country by the Constitution of Uganda is the legislature. I'm man, after misleading somebody as implementers. Because an implementer, let me give a local example. An implementer at our level in the city here is like the town clerk, the city clerk. The city clerk is an implementer of the decisions that are passed in the council, which council is headed by the Lord Mayor. And so, to give that comparison, the legislature passes laws and actually debates issues, including policies that sometimes come from...
So with that, let me just take a very short commercial break, then I will come back.
Win school fees and more with MTN Momo. Pay school fees using Momo and stand a chance to win school fees for the whole year. Schools that receive fees via Momo now stand a chance to win a school van. And there is more. Parents can now get school fees loan on Momo. Paying school fees has never been this easy. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app to pay or get a school fees loan. MTN Momo, you have the power. MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. This promotional competition has been approved by National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
You can bet and get paid using AbaBet with any phone, however small it is. No need for internet. All you have to do is dial *185 *60# on Airtel to get the AbaBet menu that you can use to register yourself on AbaBet. Place bets, deposit into your AbaBet account using Airtel Money. Withdraw your winnings to Airtel Money at any time, day or night, or so much more. With the AbaBet menu, *185 *60#, you have access to unlimited games and betting options, all free of charge on your small phone. If you want to use internet, visit www.ababet.ug on your smartphone and enjoy the best betting experience. Always dial *185 *60# on Airtel to bet with AbaBet, and you will not regret. Any phone works.
Ona cheka atapiti jangi senenge be anunyo mga pala gang titimula seno alimoito ngojo mama ngapala rai ruja itelekar
iruja chut e mambo na beri ya itelekar ara di jasa sukuja oja ungini kere
ijodo kwa nangoni jai kujune mesa
ekatwa ni napaki nari telekana sangini bolia e bed sa chakune tome kwapo bam
are tepedo ocha kolo osisonalo imina sa itelekar Premier League kitone Champions League da
irajo liruje bole inimunuma ijara kala bole na Premier League kala kagwira wo e parna kwa neno mepikita ibora berja som e chikak star ido bedi kanya uni kan star iuni star yare hash idosoma Airtel osori konja chikake ni star ido bedi kanya api kan star iwongono star ikanya api star iwongono hash idosoma MTN arara yege abole na idosoma na ambi kanyango arabo option 9 ara man peje ko selago www.kagwira.ug inoma pikikera kagwira wo osora telekari boro meri boro kagwira wo ngesimana mani Uganda National Lotteries ka Gaming Board mama chama ita ngunikara kaisari kanye kwa inome piko choikina kagwira wo bet simple.
This fasting season, stay closer to the people who matter most. Buy any MTN bundle worth 1,000 shillings or more and get 5 free MTN to MTN minutes valid between midnight and 5 a.m. Simply use my MTN app or *100 *2# to our Muslim brothers. Ramadan Kareem from MTN MTN. And to the Christian faithfuls, MTN wishes you a blessed Lent season. MTN, together our faith is unstoppable. MTN is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
The time check on Voice of Teso FM. It's 11 a.m.
Ajontunesa wakalo ngesindujo MTN voice bundles nipero ya itosom I nomia dise lago kere ichikak star idopete note star iare dopet hash ara imam itosom my MTN app osodia second daily bundles ineroni nepepe emameni sibu noni MTN Uganda Limited ngesi mani Uganda Communications Commission.
Yes, welcome back from that short commercial break. Yes, Peter, you had something you were explaining.
I was explaining the roles of Parliament here, and I was on the second one. I want to go to the third one very fast. Appropriation. Appropriation has to do with budgeting and distribution of resources that are supposed to be given to the different sectors that actually constitute the service delivery in a country. And so it's the Parliament of Uganda still that receives from the executive the budget. It's taken to the committee. The committee works on it very well, gives it a good surgery, and it's brought to the plenary for debating, and then the budget is passed. That is still the work of Parliament, of appropriation. The other one that I want to end with is representation. Representation means, like I was saying here before, that every Ugandan is represented in that house. Every Ugandan has a voice in that house. And so the person you voted in your constituency is the one who is sitting there on your behalf. The reason they're actually supposed to be coming to consult so that they get the views of the people they represent, but also to inform them of what transpires in that house. That is the role of representation for a member of Parliament in that august house. And so, like my senior brother Bisanga was giving you the background, the historical background of how parties started and what they meant and what they were doing. Yes. I also want to give a very brief biblical background of how it was done in those days. If you look at the Old Testament, you realize that in Israel, they had kings. In Israel, they had kings. Now the kings ruled over the people. And they were the executive who were in charge of the day-to-day running of their nation. But there was also the interest of God representing the people that he would always administer through the prophets. So the prophets were like the representation of the interest of the people. When the king is administering his authority, the person who checks his authority was the prophet. When he goes wrong, then God would send in the prophet to say, you are now overstepping. You are making mistakes. You are causing trouble here. You are oppressing my people. You are administering injustice. Reform. If you don't, I will get rid of you. The example of what we're discussing here again the other time, when David messed up and admired Uriah's wife, took her up and killed her husband, and actually eventually ended with her. The person who went and rebuked him and checked his authority was Prophet Nathan, who went and gave him a very tricky story. He said, there's this rich man who has a lot of sheep, and his neighbor is a poor man who has only one sheep. But when the rich man got his visitors, he picked the only ram that the poor man had to slaughter for his visitors. If you were the one, what would you do? And then the king is very furious. That man is very bad man. He deserves to be killed. Then they tell him, you are the one. And they hurry us to repent. So I wanted to give that biblical background of who checks the powers of the king. It was at that time the prophets, and the prophets were sent by God. And so looking at what we're discussing today, the speakership of Parliament, the Constitution has stated it very clearly how the speakership comes about, who becomes the speaker, and for what period of time, and what their roles are.
Yes.
The Speaker of Parliament is basically the chief executive of that house who steers the affairs of that house. Their work is to steer, like a chairperson does. Senior Bisanga here is a chairperson LOC1 of Moroto Road. He has a council that he works with, but is not the only person who makes decisions in that council. Unless he's a dictator, he will tell us how he works, because he must be having a council. He has a vice chairperson, he has secretaries for different sectors. Each of them has a role, but he's the one who steers, he chairs, he guides. By the way, guiding or chairing does not mean that you make decisions. No, you're not the one who makes decisions. You preside over the debates, the discussions, and then at the end of the day, you determine the direction in which the decision is passed. Usually in Parliament, you hear them saying, those in favor say aye, to the contrary say no, and then that uproar, and then the speaker says the ayes have it, or the nays have it. That's the role that the speaker has. But of course, it's a very significant role. They influence. Though sometimes their influence is negative. They can decide to stifle the will of the rest of the House. The House may be thinking different, and the speaker is thinking differently, and so the speaker may carry the day just because they have interests that they represent. But what I want to discuss here is that every member of Parliament who is voted from any constituency under any political party has a legal right to contest for the position of the Speaker of Parliament.
Yes.
They have that right, and if they are voted, they can become Speaker. That's one thing that is important, that any member who has gone to that House, voted from their constituency, can contest for the position of speakership.
What happens in this situation of Uganda, the multi-party dispensation?
You have asked the right question at the right time.
Now,
he has not yet asked. Let's hear what he's asking. No, unless you have skipped into the script.
Peter,
yes.
Uganda has a number of political parties. NRM, FDC, many others, DP and NUP.
Right.
And in this parliament, the coming parliament, NRM has sent a majority members.
Over 500.
Over 500 is the total number. Say over 300.
Close.
Uganda, NRM has sent more than
300.
Actually, they have sent more than 3/4 of all the members of parliament.
Yes.
And even those who have gone independent, some of them, majority of them are NRM leaning.
Yes.
And NRM has a system of doing things. They go to the Central Executive Committee, they go to Chankwanzi, where the MPs caucus, and sometimes they decide on whom they should vote.
Sometimes they always
decide.
Always, yes.
Now, what are the chances? Like you are saying, everybody has a right. If I'm coming from NUP, if I'm coming from DP, what is my chance? If the other people are going to caucus and come up with one decision, what are the chances that they will caucus and throw their own away and put you, who does not even identify with the ideology?
Very good question. I see the excitement in my senior brother, Obisanga. Now, I want to just give you a slight background. It is very true that the NRM regime has mastered the art of always influencing what eventually becomes passed as law in the country by the system that you have mentioned. That it starts from the caucus, it starts from the SEC, it goes to caucus. However bad it is, however disadvantageous it is for the country, the moment they have gone to Chankwazi and they get the lectures from the chairman of the party, they will come and take that decision. However negative it is, they will actually always come and take it.
To some.
History has recorded that over time. Ugandans have cried, and there's nothing that they can do. But like I was saying, this supreme being here that I talked about, who represents the interests of the people, sometimes overrides, especially when people have cried enough. He says, I've heard the cries of my people, now they should be delivered. Put that aside. I'm just noting that because I want it to go to the ears of the listeners. But if you have been following these matters, an article comes out that SEC has passed the current speaker and the deputy speaker to continue with these offices. But you have had dissenting voices coming from within. And one of the most outstanding dissenting voice is actually of the government spokesperson. Ugandans have been used to government spokesperson also being the spokesperson of the party, but I think this time they separated them. The government spokesperson is the Minister of Information, ICT and National Guidance. He has deferred from that stand openly, even in public, and I think he stands by his ground. And he actually says that he's not aware that the SEC has actually passed this. Even the SEC itself has not come out officially to actually declare that they have passed this. It's only in rounds of social media and the news that is always coming out. And you have also had some people within the NRM party actually expressing their dissent from that position of SEC, deciding that the Speaker and the Deputy still continue to run their offices. And like you were saying, and Usanga said, it is unwritten. And anything that is unwritten doesn't have a very solid ground. It can be challenged. And so if the notion from Sekandi to Kaudaga is that they're supposed to have it 2 terms before they are dislodged is unwritten, then it is very weak. It can be overturned any time. So even for the current Speaker and her Deputy, anything can happen, even though they have majority in Parliament. And by the way, I'm one person also. You called me opposition, and I am, yes. But I'm one person who will not support you just because you belong to the same grouping with me. I vet your character and your performance and your capability. I don't support you just because we belong together. That is me. The reason I've always stood here, even before I left UPC to run from a new party that is talking about, it is not PFF, it is Citizens Accord, it is CAP. Citizens Accord Party. That is a matter of another day. I am one person, even when I was in UPC, and even today when I'm out of it, who will still tell you that Akena was the wrong party president and is still the wrong party president. And it's on record that actually 3 courts of law have outlawed him, but he's still in that office as a party president. High Court outlawed him, Court of Appeal outlawed him, and the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, also outlawed him. But he's still there because he has the support of the Bisangas. when people want to touch him, they give him the army, they give him the police to protect him in that position. That's not good for democratic leadership in a country. And so for me, I always ask a question. If this man wants to preside over a party by force, and he doesn't even respect the ruling of the courts of law, is this the kind of person who wants to become a president in a country, who doesn't respect the rule of law? Those are the issues that we're discussing here. And so, me, I don't support people for the sake of it. Even within the NRM, that majority party that has taken many people to parliament, there must be those who are dissenting, who are not happy with the status quo. What do you expect those ones who are not happy with the status quo to do? What decision do you think they will take? That's the question I've also asked. You asked me, I'm also asking that question. Misanga wants to answer it, but he will answer it at this time. That is one. But 2, there is this one person who has shown interest in contesting for the position of Speakership of Parliament.
Yes.
And this person is the current Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs in the country, who got into that position by way of actually entering an MOU with the ruling government, and therefore became the minister for that. When he went back to contest for Member of Parliament in his constituency of La Ropeche, I am sure it was not just something that came overnight. It must have been calculated. It must have been worked out in certain corridors. By the way, I want you people to know that the leadership of this country is determined. What happens in this country is determined by the ruling family. The president of Uganda, whose son is the army commander, CDF, whose wife is the Minister of Education, and whose brother is in charge of the economy, and is based in Gulu for a very long time now. If you have been following in social media, you will see that there have been very positive comments on Mao that have been made by the CDF. There are very positive comments on Mao that have been made by the economic boss who is in Gulu. By the way,
what are you insinuating?
No, let me finish. You will see what I'm insinuating by the time I finish this point. The other person who controls the economy from Gulu actually has more close working relationships with this man we're talking about, Norbert Mao. Even when DP was doing their delegates conference, the chief guest in that delegates conference was Kalebak and Wanaho, the one we know as Salim Saleh. And most times when there are events in the north, these two are together. The only person who has not made his pronouncement on this Mao we're talking about is the president of Uganda. But the rest of his family has very good working relationships and have made very positive statements, comments on this man we're talking about being Mao. So for us, we don't even understand why Mao woke up all of a sudden. Nobody knew up to the last moment that Mao was going to contest for members of parliament in his constituency. And by the way, when he went there, I've been to Gulu several times during the time of electioneering time, the campaigns. When I went to Gulu, the only poster I saw of somebody who was running for member of parliament for Pechela Ro was actually the posters of Mao. I didn't see others, much as there were other people contesting. And you know how he won, with a landslide. He even succeeded in bringing 4 other ADP members from the same region. And so for me, when we were discussing these things, when you ask me what are the chances, I don't want to mention the chances with mathematical precision, but nothing should be taken for granted. One, because there are dissenting voices within the ruling party, which is majority in that house, but also 2, that there is interest from the ruling family, seemingly, over this individual. That's why I want to rest my discussion.
That I believe that should be your assumption, but let me take a very short commercial break. I'll be back.
Hey Richard, yala man noya ni nyaman. Pia pero ya ata ni chapati. No angare ngore. Mamngi tori borene jiji mikata ina geune.
Sore agini tungenene enyamite chapati dopet. Kiramu ngureta dopet na kayuga hapa kina lolo.
Abwenga misi kibeuga konde raile jiji minui. Ai boroberi du motorjo.
Richard, mamje ipupunte be jai ko pepa ni ngano loi tetet. Kida kira no kai kirididi. Supremo flang is de jai koto mongano kede kirididi. Supremo flang is de jokna noi kanoi jara kon e jiji mido e jasi keda iboro itojo karete ja utene kon ikanyango no kere e buono noi ido itosoma kinyetana e date o mameja ichanchana park Supremo Fla ngesida iduma kinjo tomo supermarkets keda iduka ikere Kaneko Uganda Supremo Fla ngesida isoma tosluka Mandela Millers duma kinjo kesa runabout na Kobu Sega Orotulo kwa Masaka ido isoma tosluko Mandela Group.
Eno yenkole ngeyo kubaka mwako wakaunya bulungi olunaku lwonna atera n'obeera n'amannyo nga gatemagana Move it all day toothpaste akuuma amannyo go n'ekimuno nga kigumu alimu Chaco flavor alongoosa n'ajjamu buli kacica akali mu mannyo go akuuma ekimuno kyo n'amannyo go alimu habo akuwa amaanyi ag'obutonde n'osiiba n'akamwenyumwenyu olunaku lwonna kozesa Move it all day toothpaste obeere n'akamwa.
St. Michael Senior School Amen, mixed day and boarding school, a modern and state-of-the-art learning facility in Soroti, offering arts and sciences at both O and A level for profound academic excellence, skills and talent development. Vacancies are available in Senior 1 to Senior 6. We provide a dynamic, professional and conducive learning environment that empowers and inspires all our students to become well-rounded, innovative thinkers and problem solvers with intellect, ethics and confidence to positively impact the world. Find us along Soroti Lira Road, 2.5 kilometers from Soroti City Center, or call us on 0783 168 866 or 0700 487 832. St. Michael Senior School Amen. Empowered for greatness.
Iraja Urian, Pan Africa Vocational Institute, Ojamo Kura, Town Council, Nesejai Kanukon, Anudangun, Weburza Dumna Skill, Arabonating, Ataki P7, Senior 4, Ojasda Kedimwalim, we tutor the Konkoku, Kotomo Cosino Egelegela, Wapena, Aiken, Nepepeka Rucha Bawi, I do, Akirono Chakachala, I Temorokini Piki, Nepepeka Motokan, I Chibitim, I Chwe, I Tekera Motoka, I Ruchua no Akim,
Aribujo Pan African, Eraido Jai Goro Bale Kabaka, a Jintantela Tai, Elana Kinatu Kono, Ililinga Laro, a Jaso Hostels, and Radio Alusa Bakarapesu, a JDS TV, Akimine Kipe, Ese Churchi Mamanyeda, Iwadika Sokeruna Shakera Bolasho, Ojana Cooperative, Anuja di Bripa Nito, no Ubita, Bosupara Nepani, it is my center number, UVT 439, or the Maximum Mukura Town Council Troma, I didn't get a Pila MTN.
I Wadika on, Esejalo Sakonye, Kanyi Balasa, Itonina Kanyet, Kosomero, Agiari, Saniare, Tony Santo Monado Penwap, Anodoja Nupu, Inome Sime number, Enoti Kanyare Kanyoni Kanyoni, Idopi Kanyangon Dope, Ikanyoni Dopeka di Wongo, Enoti Kanyare Kanyoni Kanyape, Ikanyoni Kanyare, Ikanyoni Kanyika, Garabonat, Enoti Kanyare Kanyoni Are, Idope Wongoni Are, Yare Dopeka di Kanyape, Pan African Vocational Institute, we promote quality skills.
Hey, AIDS is still claiming lives. 20,000 people in Uganda died of AIDS-related causes in 2024.
The main source of AIDS now appears to be behavior-related, where you do what you shouldn't do, and then you get AIDS. I really am determined to insist on this behavior change. And you, the church people, the mosque people, please bring this one out very clearly. And the RDCs, because we don't want to cut on the potential of our children by this problem. Get tested, get treatment, and stick to the treatment. If you are on these drugs, please stick to them so that you don't relapse.
Together, we can end AIDS in Uganda. Every second counts. Let's act now. This message is brought to you by Uganda AIDS Commission, Office of the President.
Warm up your life with Adrico's hand to celebrate, knowing that you're not alone. We got you covered. Drink up and get no hangover. Adrico's hand to Adrico's Hunter's Gin.
Make lasting memories with Adrico's Hunter's Gin, the premium gin you need to light up your party. Available at a depot near you. Adrico's Hunter's Gin is distilled with quality. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Adrico's Hunter's Gin. Adricos is certified by UNBS. Call 0414-251-600. The sweet smell of taste. Adrico's Hunter's Gin. Adricos, an evolution since 1972. Not for sale to persons under 18. Please drink responsibly.
Epatana kwane betting itaitai. Ipedorijo adumu niponesholo eno mepiki. Ageuno ordinary ticket, VIP ticket keda cheda. Ichikak star yare diope note. Star yare note star yare hash. Osodijo aitelekare piki. Ido epiki nyesi gali Uganda Lotteries keda gaming board.
The commercials are done. And now back to the music.
Yes, welcome back from that very short commercial break. And Willie Bisanga, just to give you an update outside our topic, US and Israel have already started a war with Iran. They have striked Iran, and the war has started. Just away from that, Willie, your colleague Peter was talking about a number of issues, and he seemed to say that your political party is not organized. They can even take a risk to put in a member of another political party by a party president of another party to oversee the parliament, the next coming parliament. He seems to insinuate that this particular person, Norbert Mao, is in good terms with a certain powerful group within the NRM party, and they are likely to him to do something that will embarrass the NRM.
Now, I want to agree with my brother Peter Lochom. He's very academic. When you listen to him, that lecture he's giving was telling us it will be very relevant in some political science lesson. He's telling us about the executive, the roles of the legislature, the laws. He forgets to say that all these institutions of the state and government share power in proportions that amalgamate themselves to make sure that the governance is straight and there is no threat to political power. Yes, MPs represent a constituency. They speak for the volumes of people that are me inclusive. But I want to tell you that the president and the governance of the national resistance movement in this country, one of the biggest campaigners who goes across the whole of Uganda geographically in constituencies and against the mandate of the people, is the president of the national resistance movement. He goes 99% to 100% in every district, in every constituency and campaigns. And thereby, you cannot say that much as the MPs who are 500 plus, that's why the president has executive powers. You know these executive powers, like you talk about Trump. He comes in, but he can overrule certain positions based on his intelligence and information that he receives across the country. And if you have known and you have seen President Museveni, when he comes to speak to both the parliament and when he comes to speak to both the executive and cabinet, there's no doubt that the president is always spot on because he's the biggest consumer of intelligence, he's the biggest consumer, he knows which road is where, and he therefore has to guide the party, members of parliament, and the legislature and everything, and bring them to order. Now, Peter, my brother, has spoken extensively, and I want to say that I agree with him to some extent, but I also want to tell him that the dynamics of political management must always be about protecting and securing and maintaining. You compete for power, you must determine to retain power, and must determine to use that power to guide all your matters of importance in matters of leadership. So, I agree with you. In that, if any political party, no wonder I am now beginning to see that probably UPC did not ground most of its cadres in political ideology. The political ideology of a political party, especially at the time of election, is manifested itself in a manifesto. That's why they call it what? A manifesto. How the governance of that political party will run to maintain and secure people's mandate is how it manifests itself in a manifesto. The programs, you're talking about PDM, you're talking about Myoga, you're talking about every other program, whatever NRM has put. But above everything else, I want you to remove it from your mindset that without loyalty to the NRM ideological foundation, without total loyalty and subscribing and bringing yourself to the total NRM ideology, you cannot stand and say that Mao, even if he's supported by every other party, any group and some people who control power, can succeed in implementing the NRM manifesto. Loyalty must be first. If ever Honorable Mao was a person who was to come into NRM and take the position of speaker, whatever your predictions are, I want to tell you and I want to assure you that without, first of all, totally subscribing to the NRM ideology, he will definitely be chasing a wild goose. So this competition for power, how do we manage it? How does the NRM manage power?
Yes.
NRM manages conflicting resolutions and bring people online through various methods, from the president, from the caucus, MP caucuses, and SEC. There is a chief whip who goes into for the term of registration or any appointments, there must be somebody to whip. And in whipping, we derive this the ideological and rather direction of whipping from established democracies like Britain, USA. Now, let me tell you, it can be this private, what do you call it, ballot voting.
Stuffing.
Forget about stuffing, you are used to stuffing. We are talking about private voting.
Yes.
Now, you are not pushing robots. We are not dealing with robots. These MPs have brains. When you hear President Museveni, which definitely he does very well and maintains power for 40 years, I want to tell my brother Lochom that I have been to Chankwazi not once, not twice, many times. And in every time that you go there, you go holding a certain view and believing that it's a correct view. But when the president speaks to you,
he brainwashes you.
Forget about brainwashing. This brain, by the time it reaches the age I have, you have also the capacity to judge and to understand. By the time he tells you that, whereas you are talking about this, the ideology of NRM speaks about this, and if you realize it's online. These MPs are newly elected MPs. And definitely, probably before the speaker is elected, they may take them to Chankwazi and give them the ideological basis of NRM and tell them why the position of speaker is just a position for one person. But we are talking about this trajectory cascading into delivery of the manifesto of the NRM, the programs and loyalty, and maintaining power My brother Lochom, you still have to wait. I told you, I've waited for Jesus 2000, now 26 years have passed. NRM also can lead us for this position, 2000 plus. But of course, that is a lifetime and we shall all not be there. But this is the first phase. That's blasphemy. It's not blasphemy. But years are running. When you die, you pass off, others come. I'm looking, not this at all. I'm looking at the possibility that the first 40 years of NRM, those are active 40 years, but NRM has been in existence for some time. Now, we are talking that, what are the programs that NRM has put? 20 airports will be built. You are hearing oil will start flowing in 2027. You are hearing more schools are going to be built. Improvement and support for children in our schools. You think those are minimal programs? New airports are being built all over. It means that by the end of this term of office, you called it what? Citizens Performing Party?
Citizens Accord.
Citizens Accord Party will be part of NRM branch and sort.
And I want you to...
I want to say, Moses Musa, yes. Moses, that one is even not registered. Yes. I want to say that Peter Lochom, if you are going to miss the reason why political parties exist, to retain and defend political power, it's not about the individual you want to speak about, like Honorable Mao, not even Honorable Anita, let me make this disclaimer. But if the execution of the program of NRM has been found that it can only be done by a person who is ideologically correct and who has made his commitment or her commitment, and that is Honorable Anita, Anita will pass, however much other people want.
Thank you.
So
let me take a very short commercial break. I will be back.
Thank you.
My students are returning to school, but I don't have enough money to start the term. What will I do? My school needs roughly 400 million to start the new term. Who can give me a quick loan? But I don't have a Stanbic account.
Not a problem. With the Stanbic Flexi Loan on School Pay and access up to 1 billion in quick digital loans within 24 hours. And no existing Stanbic account is needed to qualify for the loan. So, school owner or headmaster, what are you waiting for? With the Stanbic Flexi Loan in partnership with School Pay. For more information, contact us on 0800 325 325. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda up to 10 million shillings.
Adolapa kinajula nyama jara kalaka sana soft drink. Asocha mcho buko kairata. Yes, don't name adode ngoboro. Kasana soft drink. Isoma utete dibora lu afrikane kwa penat. Etanga usi. Amajani. Esikelau. Emulondo. Ele mara laji. Hania. Itikitike kandida. Idone pola kere. Arai putu nuja lotari iboro lu akoi kira. Itojo karoz. Luka UNBS. Odumako dukai. Keraboisono nyamara ijar. Katakui. Amuria. Serere. Kumi. Bukedia. Palisa. Kapele biong. Ngora. Araimam. Odope sima edopo noti kanyari not. Ikanyapi uni kany. Ikanyare. Are not kanyari kanyi wongon. Iyari kanyapi wongon. Ikanyapi kanyoni kanyare. Kasana soft drink. The solution to your body.
Yokajo bere boss. Epone bere nara unore ngore boss.
Okelo. Ipale ono ikoje dara une boss.
No itai.
Konja jo kerisine lukumi.
Elukumi tibon.
Eba.
Ejasi.
Are jasi ran kwando je boss.
Opo nani. Apero ronga itosome isirigne lukumi tibon ngo dara unore boss.
Ha, isirigne lukumi dengun. Egwelanda je chupali pedo ya ra unore boss. Era lui maten, lui tete kano sokoni. Ejoku kanoi. Era ja nakaina. Iyala majo. Ido ishela mekite. Eso makimaten we bake boss. Alcoholic kombucha drink. Ari mataji maten we bake boss. Ipero idara une boss.
Dei kuli doja ijara bait.
Eba, nala renge boss.
Aha. Engora doko anara une boss. Hara jodi re boss.
Itemoko ja musugono ngunu balabe boss.
We are all bosses. Ikoani ni paran. Kede imatene luka boss alcoholic kombucha. Totore jodi ipero araune boss.
Boss kombucha ngesda ipak ngatai. Omilda sula kota rekada kaisakai. Ido, ejijimo dokel. Ojaskele uriala ejoko noi. Imatajo. Ejoka nwako na damu. Mame ya une hangover. Isoma ile bokesi. Imatan luka champion alcoholic drink. Ido, ejoko nye bolora depari noi.
Kanwaje nunu ipu. Champion winners. Ngesda iduma inijo. Adiang opiro sel. Amucha. obuga lokolira inome simu enoti kanyare ikanyeuni uni iyare ikanyiuni ikanyang'oni kanyang'oni diopet ara enoti kanyare noti wongon idiopeti uni kanyauni ikanyauni wongon yare imatenelu
Eya itenelo St. Mark High Schools Kayunga isida itijene kititunge be eja saibo isho senior na sunton na ikantape ai moriarity sapakape su rasiko sisomerwe ruko primary ka senior eperio omambo bo perete papero sisirigin kosi lwe somero eja si basaries kedi uniforms lwa tita erako sapele ikine taraune somero le jenara waila ikwache kalamu kai pepe unikeshi shake jokonoi alaro ne minana ojoka kidwe iponesho itopoloriti so idwe kosi atupito sinu wadikatai apodo kitos kayungitela suban ai wadika uneshisha ngeselo sakonye odumaki sobu sana road district alo Kayunga araiko tuja admission odumako yape siloko voice of teso ara inome simoto monaba enoti kanyari kanyapi kanyape wongoni kanyape note wongoni kanyare ara odumaka admission kono lago www.stmarkschools.com ara inome simoto monaba enoti kanyare noti kanyauni yara ikanyangoni diopet uni wongo kede noti kanyari kanyapi diopet uni kanyuni noti kanyauni no.
The management of Amina Mission Open Secondary School, located at Opuyo Ward, Malera A, Soroti City East, with its sister schools, Soroti Open and Amina Mission Nursery and Primary School, wish to inform the general public that admissions are ongoing at the school from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. We also have Amina East Africa University, which will be opening soon. New entrants joining the secondary school will get the following benefits. Boarders will find mattresses at the school. Those students joining the secondary senior 1 with aggregate in PLE 4 to 6 will study for free for a period of 4 years, given a scholarship of fees and accommodation only. 7 will study for free for 3 years, given a scholarship of fees and accommodation only. 8 will study for 4 years freely, a scholarship of fees only. 9 to 10 will be given a scholarship of 50% of the school fees only for 4 years. 11 to 12 will be given a scholarship of 50% of the fees for 2 years only. Those joining senior 2 will get free 2 pairs of classwear uniform obtained from the school. Of the above scholarship will also imply if the student got aggregate 7 while in P7 and should have gotten division 1 and 2 only at PLE. For more information, contact management head teacher 0775 948 466, deputy manager 0782 928 822. Amina Mission Open Secondary School Amos. Learn and act for the glory of God.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Willie, you wanted to make a conclusion? I want to pick callers.
I just want to make a conclusion. Words have been thrown around that SEC had endorsed this, had done this and the other. I think those are norms and procedures accepted in modern day democracies. And once certain decisions have been made, it's imperative that all the other members of the political party respect them, because you are not going to start jumping out and wanting to appear that you have your own independent mind. Anybody who goes outside the political decisions of a political party undermines the very tenets of what political parties stand for. That means we have a manifesto, we have a program to implement, we need the loyalty of all members of parliament, and we must implement according to our ideological stand. I'm therefore saying we're not going to sell ourselves. There could be issues which are coming currently in play. Many people are talking of the transition, many people are talking of jostling as our president is aging. But then the NRM is bigger than everybody. It's a bigger political party, and its existence must be defined by the loyalty of the members. If you are going definitely to join the NRM and you have come from outside the party, that must be very clear. We're only saying, I'm not against, from the opening of remarks I made, I don't at all doubt that Mao is an intelligent leader, but he cannot be able to stir the interests of NRM unless we are not told. But if it's going to be a party into all our decisions of the national resistance movement, I'm not speaking for NRM, but I can also say, because I'm a member of the party,
yes.
Therefore, he must subscribe to the ideology and programs of the national resistance movement, loyalty. If at all he was able to come by now to stand as a speaker, then that should be clear. Our president should come out clearly and tell us, and all other leaders should come that now we have signed an NRM and a DP a memorandum of understanding, and he's dissolving his party and coming, but the law will not allow that.
Thank you.
So my view is that so far now, all the other MPs who are coming for political power, of wanting to take on speakership, they are right.
Thank you.
Until otherwise, Wanyoto, who and all the others, they are NRM. And therefore, if they are going to come because of the ideological loyalty and programs and manifesto of NRM, those can come. But Mao is not a member of NRM. And definitely, politics is about numbers.
Yes.
We must compete for power, retain power, and use this power to guide our programs and nation. Therefore, if we want to sell NRM without us participating properly, we NRM, I think the decision to put Mao into a position of speakership is misguided.
Is a risk. Thank you.
It's misguided.
Peter.
Peter will say something else.
Peter,
wants NRM to
Peter, I want to pick.
Fall on his own sword.
I want to pick the callers in just 2 or 3 minutes. This is what is taking from what you had earlier on given us.
And what I've now
Ibalajebe, a number of people from a certain family, but also from within the NRM, they do want to identify with the candidate who is coming from the DP. But there are arguments that giving Mao to become speaker is another way of handing power to the Democratic Party. BA, what do you say about that?
First of all, you heard from my brother confirming it's actually the Democratic Party have an understanding that is signed.
That was in the past.
That is signed. No, they have never revoked it. It has never been wound up. They have a signed agreement to work together. MOU. But also behind the curtains, for us, we can never understand what is happening. The reason I was actually naming the things that have chronologically been happening between this person we're discussing with that family that is in power. But you also need to agree with us, agree with me, that the reason that word appears in our dictionary, surprise, is because it actually exists. There's what they call a surprise. And surprises are capable of actually happening. We cannot rule out anything. This is humanity. And if you have followed the leadership style of President Yoweri Museveni, you should be able to note that possibly is working towards something. He hinted on it. He's working towards a transition. And this transition is not a matter that can be handled jokingly and lightly. There is a serious and great possibility that there is an understanding between the Honorable Norbert Mao and the corridors of power to work out something that the country may not be aware of, including those of Bisanga who are in NRM. Nobody should just take it lightly or rule it out. Mao cannot have that confidence just from nowhere. But first of all, even just having been appointed Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs and is working with the ruling government, and he has the confidence to state the things he does, I don't want anybody to take it for granted. And like we said, it's not written anywhere that somebody who becomes Speaker of Parliament should go for 2 terms before they leave. And if it's not written anywhere, anything can happen. And our work is actually to watch and see what is going to happen. But if you asked me, of the people who are contesting for speakership, of the list that is there that you named when you are starting the talk show, if you ask me who would be more suitable and who can be more cool-headed and more not just articulate, but more principled, a person who cannot actually follow the principles of the rule of law, I think Mao would take the lead in being practical in as far as the application of the rule of law is concerned. One thing that he did that surprised me, I was also not happy with him for a long time, but one statement that he made that surprised me and made me get back to being his fan. I've been Mao's fan ever since he was a girl president. I was in primary school when Mao was a girl president, but I used to listen to radio, and I would listen to his articulate way of speaking and bringing his matters to the surface. One thing that surprised me was recent when the voting was supposed to take place, and the CDF had made a statement, and the chairman, electoral commission followed, and others were saying that after voting, go back home, don't be around the polling station. He made a statement that I thought was the right one and said there is no law that bars citizens of Uganda after voting from remaining around the polling station. Let's apply the law as it is. And they said the only area a voter is not supposed to be is 20 meters away from the polling station, but they can be around. The law allows them. And I thought that was sober. That video was pulled down from the social media immediately, and I knew he had stepped on some toes. So for me, when it comes to soberness, when it comes to principles of governance, principles of democracy, the person who measures highest to me would be numbered Mao.
My lines are open 0772 949 628 or 0701 884 021. You can also send an SMS on 077 840 832. Voice of Teso, hello.
Hello?
Yes. Yoga.
Yoga noi.
Yes, Ekiror.
Buti Ben lo.
Yes, Ben, I bonin.
Jeng olay lo sa bubu denge sa amp.
Yes. Baji jai. Baji jai.
Ajeng olay lo sa Sudan ko nyato famenga papuke radio lo Voice of Teso.
Oh, yalama noi. Au mishe bakasai.
Dan kita nga program mo na kita nga ipu.
Yalama noi.
Yebo.
Yalama all the way from South Sudan. Voice of Teso, hello.
Hello.
Yes, Yoga.
Yoga no ida kwa ya kamna jaga ida kudo la lo kachumbala.
Yes, akudo.
Eselami ina program noi. Aina ni Mao araute a chance ngona araute speaker ba mera dia correct. Ina kini kwa na e country around democratic nara e aruka na itunga justice poreka ni kese arimare ite itunga kere mere ite lo onarembo ni kape family.
Yalama. Voice of Teso, hello.
Hello, Voice of Teso.
Yes.
Yabane Moses Musa.
Yoganoi.
Na watu wanje peleka da bejila kwa sigiro kolerone.
Yes, Julius.
Ene na be ke Moses Musa. E joka do verbo ti mawara une MP ebore ke speaker de pare sai. Ara do verite ju na le maja ese ke tipo aya chaka tesa na mbere pa kamara. E mbere pul ni na ya go tesa da ni. E joka do no batimao chono adepa.
Yalama noi. Voice of Teso, hello. Hello, Voice of Teso.
Masaka.
Yes.
Yoga no bia go soroti.
Eja isoroti.
Ajengo marito ko swaga base ora.
Yes.
Shalom kisibere program ne jay to mo studio akira pugani. Na raket ona chikusu ebi enda.
Yes.
Koto bera more ton yenye ngare no koda. Alimoni etapa ngare mo kitu aboni be no ne ngare no ko boni bere joda dumno apaka bune ro studio mo kera. Ko kibore ni je kin to ngal yala dikiri boni be. Podo ito ande o kingare no district required.
Yes.
Yala ma ton ebi enda. Do yasbi tubo to ko bo danyu bonde so mare sipele kilule misumun to tore so kawala ilo.
Yala manoi. Voice of Teso, hello.
Ona cheka yoga to pro.
Yoga noi.
Dia bo studio.
Ejo studio.
Hainera take do na cheko ne long aruna dajara suret.
Yes.
Igore bonye na monyi ngonge siente be. Tunga ngunu le kamare renga itubu ngoni katonga. Ongole ase soda le oboda ase kutu kwese. Ojala kite so aija ikini sa ai monya gobo bange tante ke dolo bas bongo do bise kungo songo bongo de ke so bala. Itunga alwa mi kwese genete akeswele be asha kam kiting akre ja se kopano studio no konya rakiro tingono bala ti ngene paki bala ti nera tete. Tingunda do berelu mame pedo sa gangana kini tunga utia message ke sibore ni ke dibore message koto jai so mama che atema kisicheda
yala manoi. Voice of Teso, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Lazarus Kanu.
Yes, Lazarus.
Shalom the program.
Yalamano.
Program. I like that download there, so yes, no, never wala patiaka. Alright, a bongo, let us speak out. I'm walking up a speaker. Na bete ma me bono pesa ina ane dawo. Alright, to bumao. Ye putokini tai. Reki yo kare kanyi watu borso kawo. Yo ni kara vice president. Alright, peso ni sajai. Asi pita peso ni sajai. Lepete ito ni pergiato ni kari ni na lepete kanyaro yo peso. Kanye ido kurangeta ngeta tikatiaka. Reki yo poka wana bonga domote bonebe. E oro reja kaite elaijo kupa solo o bukulo o casino. Inko reja kaito kupo radio mamo bwa chama bunere. Ano boy yo.
Oh, airtime. Voice of Tesuelo.
Moses Musida Panaya Kamno Kilomam Kuna Rungari.
Yes.
Ya Salam King a program. Kunya Kotanga Salam King on the Chekang Pitalo Chumbon Bay Yogaya Babakaitu. Yongo Waika to Takao Musoya. Table Nebe. Eja ino but now Atari Bonebe. Kepuga Eja Waike Sebon. Ano anuta oni tesa mamoni kotariengu na anuta. Ngola jongo na tesa te chaka ara te speak up. Olanya bikari dio bui puga ngina. To kwa na bubimba bobe bubula una ngina. E kotona kwenyu. Eruma no kangunde pipili kiting etawen nera. Asiala istie de line.
Yalama noi pipile jakaite ngone town noi do akoro kwa ngeta kina neni kede lu no make simu nara okapak ngesa down kwana akoro nga kunu ne jaijo ni jayo ni tomano studio ido akoro nga geu kede jo ejakaite Peter Lochom no awasi ado kwana ingeta kini okay program eno matetu simun ido jaiki dakan this bone in just 1 minute. No awasi angeta is a program.
In 1 minute, I just want to conclude by saying that the country is actually steered towards a transition. We all know that President Museveni has led this country for the last 40 years. And age is not on his side. We should be focusing on receiving in the near future, I don't know how long it will be, a new leadership, wherever it will come from, whether within the NRM or elsewhere.
It must be NRM.
But the country needs to be focusing on that. And we have people of caliber who can be leaders in this country. The atmosphere, the environment should be friendly. And measuring the speakership office in the last parliament, actually, in my own assessment, ever since this country became a republic, the worst parliament was the 11th parliament. And if the people who presided over it are contesting to still lead, the 12th could be worse than the 11th. And that's how I want to conclude.
Willie Bisanga, your last remarks.
I think, Peter,
make your own conclusion.
You have failed to win the votes to dislodge NRM from power. These opposition members have failed all other means to get NRM out of power, but they want to use parliament, and we shall not allow it. The issue of speakership is not a negotiable position for NRM, just like the issue of presidency and the other positions that the president appoints. And it must not be trivialized to be a small issue by castigating and thinking that the 12th parliament did not perform. It performed. That's why we're here. And that's why even why the NRM has been able to win this other election. Resoundingly, by the way, 70-something%. You are 70 what?
71. 72%.
If they did cheat us, we should have been in 75. This opposition. Now, the issue of speakership is about responsibility. It's not a simple issue. It's about authority, both to legislate, to appropriate, and influence decisions on the floor of parliament. That's not about to be handed over to opposition. If we want our programs, PDM, we want all the other programs that require us to deliver to the people in our manifesto, which gave us 71%, overwhelmingly. Neither opposition nor anybody who wants to play politics on our minds, they shouldn't be allowed to override us. If this position as far as loyalty is concerned, as far as ideological clarity is concerned, as far as the programs and the ideology plus manifesto is concerned, comes through a loyal member of parliament. And I want to make a disclaimer, I'm not here representing Honorable Anita. If Anita is a person that the people feel will push the agenda of NRM, anybody else will be subsidiary to us. I want to say that hitherto, the executive, while Honorable Chom is very worried, hitherto, the relationship between Parliament and the executive has been so cordial. Even all these other opposition members, this one, Subugan, who have been able to work, I think, under Honorable Anita, among, very well. She's a person who has coalesced all the forces to come out and correct and work and say, members, all of you represent. There's no way she has made any discrimination. And therefore, in directing the legislature, I think she has done a good job. But I don't think I want to gamble. We don't want a gambling and believing that a member who has shown that he's a DP and he wants to offer himself as a DP should come into NRM, yellow outside, green outside, I don't know, but inside is not, he's pretending to be yellow. His yellow must be yellow. And therefore, I would like us to support our members of SEC, support NEC and all other people that make a decision, and the caucus, convince our MPs that we're not going to bargain on that. This country is for all of us. And therefore, it must give out a position which is not ambiguous. Whether you're a member of the first family, you must not be ambiguous about the principles of NRM.
Thank you, Willie.
DP, whatever memorandum of understanding that are made with NRM, let it be made public so that we debate about that relationship. But not to say, because so-and-so is a personal friend, so-and-so in the first family, or so-and-so, this is a country for everybody, and I pray we subscribe and end at that.
Thank you.
Because NRM,
and I want...
those ones who are NRM, who is FDC, stay out of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for turning up for this very important talk show. And I want to thank the callers, the listeners, and those who love this program, EKIKO Talk Show. We shall stop here till we meet again. My name is Moses Mosa. Don't touch your dial.
No need to stress over fees and requirements or link charge with Stanbic Bank. Enjoy an interest, free cash, advance up to 5 million in 2 minutes via our